Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had time to explore the amazing app, hydrate, nourish yourselves, and get whatever you need to show up today. I am so excited for this next Fireside chat and excited to welcome Raie Gessesse, our powerhouse Midwest program manager, who will be facilitating this first Fireside chat. Thank you so much, Raie.
Welcome, everyone. I am so thrilled for this fireside conversation. I don't want to waste any time. I'm so thrilled to welcome the incredible Kimberly Ellis. We will be chatting all about the power of commission seats, right? This is a tremendously under talked about topic, and it has an incredible role in building our political power. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Kimberly introduce herself and tell us about your role on the Commission on the Status of Women in California.
Yes, well, good morning, good night, good morning, Raie. It's such an honor to be here in conversation and in community with all of you all. I'm Kimberly Ellis. I currently serve as the director for the Department on the Status of Women in the beautiful city and county of San Francisco. And in that role, I have many responsibilities, but the most important one in my mind is to ensure that we bring about a gender equitable city that can serve as a model for other cities to follow. And when we talk about gender equity, we're talking about with respect to recruiting, with respect to hiring and promotion, with respect to the distribution of resources that the city gives out in the various forms. And so that is my job as the director, and I'm excited to help San Francisco set a model in the direction for the rest of the state and the country to follow.
Yes, thank you so much for that. So let's dig in. Why is this commission important, and how does gender equity impact a state's efficiency, a state's representation? Like, tell us about what this commission, it's tasked with making sure that it's equitable, but why is that important to state government?
Well, gender equity is important for many reasons, and not the least of which is ensuring that our voices, the voices of women, are represented at every decision-making table where our lives and our livelihoods are being represented. One of the things that has become crystal clear with the COVID pandemic is that women and girls, and particularly women of color, are hit hardest when we are faced with crisis, economic, health, and otherwise. And so we need to ensure that we are building into the fabric of this new society. You know, when I think about President Biden and his campaign slogan of building back better, I believe that we have an opportunity to do just that. And all roads to building back better run through the equitable treatment of women and girls in every part of our society. And so this department is really instrumental in ensuring that we use a gender lens when we are looking at every facet of the way in which the city and county of San Francisco runs and operates. We need to make sure that women and women of color, especially as they have been the hardest hit, are at the center of every conversation. We know that the majority of businesses that have shut down, we know that the majority of the COVID-19 infections and deaths have really been born, the biggest burden has been borne by women and women of color. And so we need to ensure that we are applying a gender lens. And this department is tasked with sort of helping to shepherd and lead the city and other departments as we move through recovery and getting back to building our economy and our communities back after COVID.
Thanks, Kimberly. The audio is a little bit low. Maybe if you could come a little closer to the computer. I think that'll fix that. We love technology. That- Thank you for that. So I realize I didn't ask this question, but there are a lot of people that don't know don't know what commissions are and don't know how to get involved. So I'm curious, what is like some of your, high level words on what a commission is and how young people, and especially young women and young women of color, can join?
Yeah. So I'm hopeful that the majority of the women who are tuning in today are considering running for office. And so when you are running for office, you are going to put together what is called a kitchen table. And your kitchen table is going to be sort of your brain trust, your circle of advisors who are going to be able to advise you as you move forward throughout your campaign. Well, I like to think of commissions in that same regard. They are advisory bodies to the cities and counties and municipalities in which they sit and serve. And so whether it be the Planning Commission, the Art Commission, Parks and Recs, Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, whatever the commission, those are advisory bodies to the departments, which then drill up to the governing boards of those municipalities. So I would encourage all of you all, if you haven't already considered serving on a board or commission, to do so. And you can find out what boards and commissions are available to serve on by going to the websites of either your city or the county or the state. There are state boards and commissions as well, but there are more than 500,000 appointed and elected seats between dog catcher and the president, and boards and commissions are in there as well. And so there is a place for every woman to serve. And so I would encourage you all to get involved in the decision-making process of your communities via boards and commissions.
Yes, this is so important. I just have to say, when I first came to Ignite, I came in 2019. I had no idea what a board or commission was. I attended one of our boot camps on boards and commissions, how to apply, how to find them. And I was actually appointed to my state's task force on reducing health disparities with the Minnesota Department of Health and Human Services. Now consider this. This is the work that I do as an organizer and activist, but it's also what I study. At that point, I studied public health and political science, and I had no idea that this task force even existed, and it was open to young people like me. I was still an undergrad. I was a senior. Actually, no, I was a junior when I applied for this seat. So I just want to say, these roles are open and available. They're just not as advertised, right? So the point of this conversation is to elevate the fact that these exist. You are more than qualified to apply and sit on these boards, and they have a tremendous role in what gets done. Like, for example, in my position, we are appointed by the commissioner of the Department of Health and Human Services, and we advise them on the policies that need work, or the policies that we need to make sure that our communities are equally represented in the decisions that affect our health and well-being. So that's incredible. Thank you for elevating that, Kimberly. At Ignite, we're all about building political power. And sometimes, like you said, we focus on the top 535 seats. So the president and the House of Representatives, and then the Senate. But like you said, we have over 500,000 seats that are filled, and we don't know that they're filled in our local level. Local politics matters. So you have spent a good amount of time in local politics. If you could tell us a little bit about the role of commissions and getting involved locally has on building national political power, right? I think we focus so much on the top seats, but what does it mean to build power locally?
Yeah. Well, I like to say that, power building starts from the bottom up. And the people at the top only have power because the people at the bottom, the people power, either give it to them or we delegate it to them by either showing up to vote or not showing up to vote, right? So it's incredibly important that we understand, especially now, the power of the people and the power of local. The vast majority of our current elected officials at the federal level started off at the local level. Even our first female vice president, Kamala Harris, started off at the local level as the district attorney in San Francisco. So understanding that that is the bench and the pipeline for higher office is incredibly important. And also, we forget that the problems that we deal with most on a day-to-day basis, whether that be potholes or whether or not our water is running, to the issues of reproductive justice. Those issues are local, oftentimes local issues that are being decided by our local city council, school board of supervisors, right? And so understanding the role that each level plays in our day-to-day lives is really important. But local is where it's at, and it's also the place where you can make the most impact. As you all, I'm sure, have seen, it can be a total and complete logjam at the federal level in terms of getting things done. And it oftentimes takes a long time. Whereas at the local level, things can move a lot quicker and you can bring about solutions to problems a lot sooner because there's not as much red tape and bureaucracy to get through at the higher, which is, how it is at the higher level. So local, ladies, is where it's at.
That is so important. Yes, local is where it's at. And when we talk about building, like you were talking about building back better, starting local, building political power, that starts with where you're at. That means organizing your family, your friends, your community. And part of that is taking up the seats on these commissions, because these commissions have a huge role on what's prioritized and what's not. For example, next week here, I'm leading our Power to the People training that Ignite is doing nationally, actually. And these are appointing young people to police commissions who have a say in how police are managed. So whether it's making sure that if there's misconduct, it's going to be heard and listened to, these commissions have a huge role in that. And young people can and should be appointed to these roles. So that's something that I'm recently hearing about that's super important. So with our last 5 minutes here, Kimberly, time flies when we're talking. If you could tell us, I have two questions. One is, when you got into your role, is there something that you wish that you were told? Or, a lot of young people on this call I've heard from feel a lot of imposter syndrome and feel that they're not prepared or they're not qualified to be on these commissions. And as a director and as someone with tremendous experience, I'm just curious, what are some of the things that you tell yourself when you enter these rooms that you belong there and your voice is needed?
Yeah. So to your question about something that I wish I had known before sort of getting to this place, that would be that we don't have to wait for people to give us the power. We already have the power. And we just have to make the decision to exercise that power. Understanding that women oftentimes do have a complicated relationship with power and the idea of power, because unfortunately power has been used over and against us, right? So that is really important, I think, when we talk about politics, because it really is at its core about power and how you choose to use and wield that power. So number one, don't wait for anyone to give you the power. You already have the power. And then secondly, I think with respect to the imposter syndrome, it's not surprising when we think about the white male heteronormative patriarchy that is woven into every fabric of American society, that anybody and anything that is other than that is made to feel lesser than or less qualified or inferior to. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you need one example of why you are qualified to serve at every level, all you have to do is look at the former occupant of the White House who was evicted last fall, thanks to the power of the people. You are more than qualified. Women and women of color increasingly are the most educated demographic in this country. And so we have the background, the skills, the intellect, the common sense, right, to make decisions. At the end of the day, being an elected official is really about one thing. That is gathering all of the information, right? You're going to have people to bring you all of the information, the pros, the cons of every issue, and then the impacts of it, so on and so forth. And then you make a decision. That's it. It's either yay or nay or for or against. And that really is what this is about. And every single last one of you makes decisions about every aspect of your life every single day. And that's what politics at its very core is about. It's about deciding. It's about deciding how resources and money is distributed and who and what parts of the community are going to get those resources. And so each and every one of you is qualified, more than qualified, overqualified to serve on boards and commission and in elected office. And I sincerely hope that each of you will hear this call to serve. Women, we are being called to duty. And I hope that you answer the call and join us in this struggle for equity and justice and fairness for everyone.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kimberly. That was a mic drop moment. If we were in person, she has said it all, y'all. We are overqualified for these positions. And what I will say that I've been saying to folks is your lived experiences as a young woman, as a young person, is your title. That is our title. And there are people that are making decisions right now confidently on things they have no lived experiences on. So that being said, I want everyone who's on this call who feels that they don't have enough of a title to apply for these positions to know that your lived experiences has already given you a perspective that many others can't say that they have. On that note, Kimberly, it's been so great talking with you this morning, this afternoon, and we're gonna pass it to Tiara, who's gonna launch us into our networking session. I am so excited to see you all on another session.
Yes, thank you, Raie and Kimberly. That was just some beautiful words. And I'm just always so empowered after being in the room with you, both from just being overqualified. And I think Raie really touched on it, your affliction bringing you to the position. And so that alone is your qualification. Now we're so excited because you're going to have the opportunity to network with more movers and shakers, people who are leading in the field, whether it be city council members working within the political arena as a legislative aide or a campaign staffer. So I am going to give you the directions because I know coming into this platform, if it's your first time, it could be a little intimidating. So I'm going to help you figure out how to get over there. There's going to be some links, drop it in the chat box. But it's going to be on the Wonder Me, which works from only your computer. I actually tried it on my cell phone. If you have an iPhone, I'm not sure about Android, don't have that. But if you have an iPhone, I was able to access Wonder Me on the iPhone. And so just keep that in mind. But scroll to the session in the agenda, click on the Networking with Women in Politics session, and then click on the link to go to Wonder Me. And so again, that's going over to the Networking Women in Politics session on the agenda. And if you did not go to the earlier networking session, you would need to create your account. So keep that in mind too. We're also having a networking session tomorrow at this same time. You're going to take a selfie. You're going to type in your name. It's completely easy. You'll be taken to the Ignite Movers and Shaker area. There are rooms and boxes for each of our movers and shakers. You may need to use the zoom in and out feature on the upper left side of the room to size it appropriately. So when you get into the platform, you'll be able to put your own icon or avatar in whatever room you would like to network in. So navigate to the various rooms to meet the movers and shakers, and be sure to come with your questions. When you get close to a person you want to chat with, Wonder will create a circle where you can then communicate. Circles are a max of 15 people. And if you realize you're in a room by yourself, you can also look at people who are in a gray area, hover over their avatar, and you can actually invite them to come into a room with you. If you want to chat with someone whose circle is full, stay in their room in a new circle and wait till someone exits or go visit another room to connect with someone else. If you get lost in everything that I just said, because it probably could have went in one ear out the other, or everything is just confusing, don't worry, we're here to help you. Head over to the Ignite Help room and we have staff available to help you. And I'm hoping that someone dropped those links in the chat. And if not, remember that you can go to your agenda. Again, look for the session that says Networking with Women in Politics, and the link will be there through WonderMe. If you have any questions, you can also pop it in this chat. I don't see any questions coming in, so hopefully you found your way over there. I don't think and I'm going to head over there too. So I'll see whoever is still listening to me right now, because I feel like I'm talking to myself, but I'll see you in the other session.